He's going to actually teach us or give us some techniques, some technique and some tips about how to improve our citation. So I'm sure it will be useful for all of us, and we can learn a lot from that. Yeah, I don't talk too much, so Jubair, I will pass the floor to you. We will listen to you.
Sure. Thank you, Hadi. I think my voice is clear, right?
It is clear, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Thank you very much. Let me share my screen first. You just confirm me whether you can see. Yeah. I think you can see now, right?
Yes, 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 can.
Okay,
Just,
sure. Thank you very
yeah.
much. Okay. Good afternoon and welcome everyone. Thank you very much, School of Research, for arranging wonderful sessions throughout the year. And this is one of our initiatives to support our researchers and fellow staff and each year students to become improving their publication and citation. So in this today's workshop, I wouldn't say it's a workshop, it would be more like a sharing session. I will share my experiences with you. And in this session, I can see many senior researchers are here with us, like Basil, Bitang, and many other senior researchers here. So you guys can share your tips with our early career researchers and HDR students as well after I finish my presentation. So that would be really beneficial, and we can learn a lot from the senior researchers as well. So in this sharing session, this will be sort of my outline. First, I would like to emphasize on why and how citation matters in our research career, and the correlation between good citation and our research performances. Then I will show you some of the platforms where we can track our citations. And finally, how we can improve it. There are classical approaches and there are some other unconventional approaches which are not being taken by many people and practiced by some people, I would say. So that's why the catchy line is there, a bit of dramatic line, the game behind the scene. But I can assure you there will be no game behind the scene. Everything will be clear.
Jubair, sorry to
So
interrupt. I'm sorry.
yeah.
I think you should expand your PPT, your slide is 85%, make it 100%, please, if it's possible.
Okay, I was actually sharing my PDF. Okay, if you want me to go to PPT, then yeah,
Yes.
PPT, I can go. Is that 100% now?
Yeah, I think it's clear,
Better
more
now?
clear now.
Okay,
Yes,
okay, that's better.
thank you. Sorry.
Okay, so no problem. Thank you very much, Hadi. So first, let's just ponder on why do citation matters. From our career perspective, it really matters a lot because citation is kind of a part of our public research profile where we demonstrate our research performance. So when we showcase our performance, there are not many ways to do it. One of the way is we showcase our number of publication, then quality of our publication, like what kind of journals we are publishing in. And the third way is to show our citation, which is also representing am I doing a good research or my research are being read and cited by other people or not. So this is a very general researcher perception across the world that if my citation is good or citation is high, I'm a good researcher. If my citation is low, then maybe not so good. So this is the general impression. So first thing I would like to debunk that idea that this kind of perception is not true. Just by looking at the citation of a particular researcher, we should not dive into that conclusion that this particular researcher is good or bad, because citation actually depends on many different factors. There are many contributing factors in our citations. Like particularly, I would say research field is a very big area. For example, if someone is doing research in medical science or in terms of engineering, even in biomedical engineering, getting 10,000, 20,000 citation is not a very big deal because those kind of medical research are highly cited and frequently cited over the time. On the other hand, if someone say working on a pure mathematics or maybe pure physics, they cannot come up with innovation every other day. It takes a couple of years to publish a good quality papers. So that particular field, maybe the research citation will be very low, but it can be high as well if someone come up with a very novel idea, a breakthrough, something like that. But not every single papers in that particular field or is not going to be cited that frequently. So research field is a very big factor about how much citation we are receiving. So that's why I told you earlier that we shouldn't jump into conclusion just by looking at the number of citation of a researcher, whether he is good or bad. Second thing is maybe the field that we are working with it may be a very important field, but not many researchers are active in that. That might happen for very specific niche. For example, if someone is working with maybe a very particular water management engineering, maybe all throughout the world there might be 100 and 200 researchers are working in that field. So if the field is narrow or the niche is narrow, automatically the citation will be less in that particular area. That doesn't mean that a particular niche is not important or the researchers are not good. So it might happen as well. Third thing I would say that publication visibility, because when we are publishing, not all publications are visible to every people in the world. Likely Swinburne, we have lots of subscription and we have the access to many databases, but we have to keep in mind almost most of the developing countries in the world, they do not have that kind of visibility or accessibility towards the databases. So where I'm publishing is a very important fact. Not all journals or conferences or proceedings are not available in all the databases or cannot be accessed from many countries. So that's why if I'm publishing in such a place that where the visibility is low, my citation would be low as well. And finally, the research focus is another thing. Sometimes our many good researchers, wonderful researchers, they do not focus on publication. They focus on more community development or maybe industry related project where there will be restriction of publishing the data or the outcome, or they do research for commercial product development. So even if you look at some of the wonderful researcher from Amazon or maybe Facebook researcher who research on many engineering aspect from Facebook development and other stuff. When you look at their public profile, their citation is not very high. So if I just jump into that conclusion, just looking at the number of the citation, this researcher might not be good. That can be a very wrong conclusion. So there are many factors which are going to impact our citation rate. So uh, my previous slide I will go. So our general perception of low citation may not be so good researcher. It should not be that way. But unfortunately, this kind of happening and has been happening for last 10 years. We always showcase our citation to prove that we are good researcher. So let's move forward how we can track our citation. There are a few public domain like Google Scholar, Scopus, ResearchGate, and also Web of Science. Currently, Web of Science is not being subscribed by Swinburne Sarok, so I can't show you the profile there, but I will show you the other three today. And there are other platforms also as well to track our citation, but most of them are customized and may not be public profile. So let me go out of my presentation now, and I will show some of the profiles. Just to avoid any conflict of interest, I will just analyze my profile and show it to you. So this is the Google Scholar profile. In the Google Scholar profile, you can track your citation year by year like this from this particular section. If you go to your Scopus, you will have your own research profile there created by Scopus. You can see your number of articles, citations, your H index, how many publication we are doing every year, and how my citation is rising or falling, and which particular year we can keep on following that. If you go to your ResearchGate profile, ResearchGate, you can also track what are my research interests, how many citation I'm receiving, how many reads I have got, which is a unique feature here in particularly ResearchGate, which I cannot find from Google Scholar or Scopus. So how many people actually read my papers through the ResearchGate? That's a big stat. We can know how many people I can actually reach. So these are the profile we have to track our citation. So if in my slides, I have summarized these three observations. So if you look at it, not all citations are same. If you look at the Google Scholar, you can see there is a big number difference between the Google Scholar, ResearchGate, and Scopus. So for example, currently Google Scholar, my citation is 2,200, but if I go to ResearchGate, it will drop down to 1,800. If I go to farther down, Scopus, it will be 1,600. So first, some explanation why these number differences happens. Because in Google Scholar will track all the citation throughout the web pages, not necessarily the articles we are publishing are being cited by research articles. It can be cited by general articles, it can be cited by thesis, it can be cited by any normal papers, assignment, or many other documents available online. So whenever any citation Google found available online, they will count it within the citation scope. On the other hand, ResearchGate will be more focused on the publication or research publication that we have, not the general article. So it has to be conference proceedings, it has to be journal articles. So automatically there will be a number gap between these two because it is excluding the general citation by articles or citation from different normal papers, which are not actually scholarly articles. Uh, for when you go to Scopus, it will fall even further down. First thing is Scopus is a bit lagged behind because any publication we have online that will be immediately recognized by Google Scholar like within 1 week. But Scopus, they update their database after a few months or 3 4 months. So when there is one citation is coming, Scopus will take at least 4 to 6 months to reflect it. So automatically there is a 6 months gap between the data here. I would say, and another thing, Scopus will only count the citation where which is within the database of the Scopus. That means we all know the Scopus indexed journals and Scopus indexed conferences. So if our research article is being cited by one of their Scopus index conferences or Scopus index journal, then those citations they are going to count only. Other than that, rest of the citations they are going to exclude. So that's why there will be a number difference between this platform. So first thing, which one we should follow? So in general trend, when we share our public profile, usually we always share our Google Scholar profile because it's easy to boast around or easy to showcase that we have that much of citation. But if we really want to know about the research performance of a particular researcher, we should go into their Scopus account and look into their profile. So if we find that the number difference between the Google Scholar citation and Scopus citation is not very big. I saw some of the people, their Google Scholar citation is maybe 5,000 plus, but when you go to their Scopus, their citation will drop below 3,000. So more than 40% of their citations are not coming from the research articles. So this gap is significant to actually academically find out whether the researcher is the contribution of the researcher or the impact of the researcher, how much scholarly contribution he's making. So this is the way we can actually identify or judge the quality of the research. So now let's go into how we can boost our citation. So as I told you, there are some conventional ways. So conventional ways is very straightforward. Like we have to publish in high impact or high CITES score or high quartile journals. So high impact, we know that the impact factor given by the Thomson Reuters previously, now Clarivate Analytics, or they have their master journal list. So they give the impact factor. CITES score is given by Scopus, and quartile is based on the database of the Scopus. So that's how they differentiate different category of journals and conference proceedings: Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. So the articles or the journals, those who are receiving high citation, automatically they are in quartile 1 or quartile 2. So when we publish in high quartile journals, the chance of being noticed or being read by many researchers around the world is automatically high. So that's why if we publish in high impact and high quartile journals, definitely we will be receiving more high citation over the time. Second option is when we do the collaborative research. So collaborative research not necessarily means I have to keep on publishing articles with them. Collaborative research is sharing ideas between similar research field, those researcher working in the similar research field. If we are in touch with many researchers within a network, then we cite their work in when they publish their articles, they also cite our work. So the bigger network we can grow, the chance of higher citation will be also high. So this is another way we can improve our citation. And third way is to cite our own articles, which we call it the self citation. But self citation, we have to keep in mind, it has to be practiced with integrity. Just to improve our citation, we should not cite our own article whenever or wherever we get the opportunity. We have to make it relevant, and also should not be breaching the regulation of many journal publication. to be on the safe side, it is there is no actually a specific rule, but most of the editorial panel or the good quality journals editorial panels, they will always follow that 10% of self citation will be allowed, not more than that. If it is more than that, usually reviewers will send the comment that the author only cited their own articles, not the other articles, so they force the authors to cut down. But if the journal quality is not good, then just editor or the reviewers often just ignore the self-citation rate. But the smart practice or a mature practice is to keep the self-citation within 10%. So what I mean by 10%, if I have 30 references or 30 cited papers in my article, my self-citation will be around 3 or maximum 4, not more than that. So these are the way we can improve our citation. And general way, these three approach are being practiced by almost 90% of the researcher around the world. So these are our conventional approaches. So now let's go a bit outside of our conventional box, how we can improve our citation. So these are the extra steps we have to take into consideration when we publish our articles. So I will go one by one of these criteria. First thing, when we look at the writing styles, writing style in the publishing articles is very important. First, when we write an article, we should keep in mind that the article I'm writing, I want it to be read by all the researchers around the world. So, and not necessarily English is the first language across the world. Many people in the world, many researchers, wonderful, good researchers around the world, their English is not that good. So if I write my papers in any very high, classy English, which is very wonderful to read, but very difficult to understand, then the chance of being cited that paper will be low. We have to keep in mind that our research article is going to be read by other people, those who are not good in English. So they also have to understand. So we should try to avoid unnecessary jargons, which is not necessary to explain a particular line or sentences, or avoid any very difficult words that come only in the GRE test. Those can be easily avoided. So we should try keep a good flow in our writing style and try to make the English easy. But easy English doesn't I do not mean that it has to be elementary English. There should be a professional manner and the professional level of writing it, but should not be very hard English as well. Third thing is choosing our keywords, because we know when we submit an article for publication, we have to provide some of the keywords, and sometimes we do not take it very seriously. We just casually give 4, 5, 6, 7 keywords which are related to my article. But if we design those keywords or choose these keywords a bit carefully, then these keywords are come in really handy in search engine, because when people look for some research field or articles, they usually go to Google Scholar and they search for the articles and they type some of the keywords. If the keywords we are providing to the journals, if those matches with the keywords with the search engine, then chance of my article show up or at the beginning is higher. So choosing the keywords is a very important fact. So if we do not take it lightly, then it might improve the chance or boosting the chance of being cited or being read or being visible to the other people. Well-crafted title is one of the things that may improve our citation, but I'm not going into how to craft the titles because it is a very specific to the field. Like for electrical engineering, the title and the title in the sociology and business, they are not going to be same. So I'm just ignoring that. But there are research studies which found that well-crafted or well-understood titles are being cited by many people. Finally, last point is the less text and more visualization. Why it is important? Because we have to remember that we already are in a 21st century, and in this century, most of the people are getting audiovisual learners. So they learn through the audiovisual thing. They do not read that much. Even we look or reflect to our own practice. 20 years ago, when we were in the university, the amount of book we read or the hard copy we read. Currently we don't do that, we don't do that much. And our next generation is even less. They like to see pictures, see visualization, and they get the information by looking at it. So that's why we call them audio visual learners. So if we reduce the text or learn how to represent the text in terms of graphs, charts, bar charts, different types of graphs, or the more visualization effect in our papers, it not only improves the citation opportunity, it also improves the publication opportunity these days as well. The more visually appealing paper, even if the research findings are not very classy or very good, still those paper can be published in very high quality journal. And we experience it in many ways. We download a very high quality journals, maybe a Q1 journal, read through the whole paper, then find out that this is already an old finding, and the contribution is very minimum. Then we question ourselves, how did they publish in Q1 journals? Why this particular article is being accepted there? So actually the story is behind that, because the presentation, language, the visualization techniques they used in the papers are caught the eye of the reviewers, and reviewers were well impressed and they accepted the article even though the contribution, research contribution, is low. My last point, I bolded it here, the highlight your drawbacks. So this is another way, and this is one of the very good way to improve our citation. When we publish an article, we all know none of our articles are 100% bulletproof. There are always flaws. Even there are no flaws, there are drawbacks or limitation or specification that cannot be followed, or there will be some sort of limitation. So generally what researchers do, they try their best to hide the limitation unless it is asked by some of the reviewers that what about that particular thing, or what about that limitations, have you considered that or not? So unless we are being asked, this is a very normal trend among the researcher to hide the flaw and drawbacks of our own research. But I actually found it happens in another way. If we explain the drawbacks or limitation of our research in our article, it is actually appreciated by the reviewers, because they know or they understand that we know the limitation of our research. That means I went thoroughly throughout the whole project, or I went through the whole concept and the idea and I dig deeper into it. That's why I know the limitation. And I'm showing to the reviewers that these are the limitation, I already know about it. So they know that I'm an honest person and what I'm suggesting in my research result. So automatically it creates a good impression that I am providing some authentic result. So, and also, when we highlight our drawback in our research paper, we know that we often write review papers, and when we review some of the articles, our first objective in mind is to know about that particular work, and second objective is to find out some of the flaw of that work so that we can find the research gap. So often we face that problem. We keep on reading the research papers, one paper, hours after hours, and for a long period of time to just to find out what are the draws and what are the drawbacks and the limitation of that particular paper, so that we can write some comment in our own paper to highlight that, because in every research article we have to present sort of a literature review. So, and to write that literature review, we have to highlight the drawbacks or limitation of other paper to focus on the research gap that we are addressing. But if I already write my drawbacks, it is actually going to help the other readers to find out what are the drawbacks. They do not need to examine my papers in too deep just to understand what are the limitations are there. So if I make their life easy, automatically they are going to cite my researcher just to prove that I have limitation, or they will write in their paper that this particular paper has this limitation, but I already gave it to them. So this is actually kind of mind game we can play with the other researcher. If we highlight our own drawbacks, it is definitely going to boost up our citation numbers over the time. So this belongs to our writing style. So how we are going to use different platform now, I will show you one by one. First, about ResearchGate. If all, I believe most of you have the ResearchGate profile. If you have it, how you can boost up your citation. First thing, when you have the research gate, you are allowed to share your articles. But we know that by policy, when we publish articles in big publishers like Elsevier, Springer, or IEEE Transaction, or some other good publishers in different field, by law, we are not allowed to share our originally published article or the final published article. We cannot share in public media like any social network or ResearchGate or any other place. We are not supposed to share. But what we can share is the final draft, or we can share the preprint, because these are not the final published paper. So if you read through the legal agreement that we have to sign before publishing any article, you will find that there are always a scope to share the preprint or the final draft of our article. So we can always share those in ResearchGate. So when we share the ResearchGate, two things happen. First thing is, because Elsevier database or IEEE database or Springer database or Francis and Taylor's, many universities in the world, they cannot subscribe those databases because of these high price of their subscription rate. So if I share my final draft of that article in ResearchGate, ResearchGate is available to every single researcher because the platform is free. So most of the researchers in the world, they can access my article. And when we share our preprint, we will provide how to cite this article, and we will uh, give them the link to cite my original article, which is being published in a good quality journal. So they actually read my papers, maybe not 100% final paper, my final draft, which is almost identical, almost 98% identical to the final published article. They can read it easily, is available to them, and then they can easily cite my original research article. Second thing we can do is share our project. So when we share our project in ResearchGate, you will find that many people will come and ask many questions regarding that particular project, like how we are developing the project, what kind of methodology we are following, what are the equipments we are using, where we have purchased it. So when we share our project and many people come to ask this question, we can instantly create a small network through our project. And when we help those people to understand that particular project, it is almost like a guaranteed thing. When they will do their own research related to that project, they are going to cite our articles. So this is another way we can do it. Third thing is participation in the discussion and reply to the question. How we can do that? Let me go out from my presentation again, and let's go to, say, ResearchGate. So you can see in the ResearchGate, there is a, after the home tab, there is a question tab. If you go to the question tab, either you can ask any technical question to any people, or you can start a discussion, or we can do is we can reply to some of the discussion. Like, these are the pick by the ResearchGate. Automatically they picked for me that they said question we think you can answer. That means they were expecting that I can answer the question. And there are multiple hundreds and thousands of questions they will keep on posting us related to our field, and they expect us to reply those questions. And alternatively, we can ask also question, we can create different forum or different discussion. So if we do that, what actually happens is, first, when we reply to other people, we are actually helping them. And obviously we have to make sure that the reply we are giving them is correct. If we can provide the correct reply, we are actually helping them. And helping means this is a, we are giving them a favor. And this is a human nature. When we get favor from someone, we always incline to give the favor back. And when I'm helping someone in the ResearchGate, how they can give the favor back, the natural way they are going to cite my paper. And also when we reply some of the answers, please do remember to link your article. Like when we are replying some of the questions they are asking, we are answering them. And at the end of the answer, please refer to this particular article, which one of my article, I would like them to read it through or read it, or just to get the better idea, or we can frame it that to have a broader idea or clear idea, please read that particular article. So that's how, if we link our paper to our answers in ResearchGate, the chance of being read or being visible to other people will definitely increase, and over the time they are going to cite our articles more and more. And finally, we can also follow, because ResearchGate, there are follow, and we are going to have followers in ResearchGate as well. If you go to your ResearchGate profile, You can always see how many people I'm following, how many people are following me. So over the time, we can develop our good network in ResearchGate through this following, and often we can ask for their feedback on some particular research. Say I know one of the researchers which is working similar to my field, so I will send some of my papers and ask for their feedback. What do you think? Is this working good, or this is the limitation? How can I handle that limitation? So when they reply us back, so what they do, they are actually reading my paper first, what I have done, then they comment on that. Okay, so by doing that, they also know about my work, and when they are going to publish their paper, it will remain in their back of their mind to cite my paper, that I read that and I found that that particular paper has a limitation. So when they write that their paper, they mention about my paper, that okay, that particular paper had that kind of limitations or something like that, or good findings, or that particular paper has this kind of findings which is actually very good. So this is the way we can also improve the chance of citation of our research articles. The next, I would show you another platform is academia. So we can do the similar thing. We can share our preprint article or the final draft. But in academia, there are other kind of analytics we can see. So if you go to the academia, yeah, so this is the academia profile. If you look at the impact, I'm not a premium subscriber in the academia. If you are a premium subscriber, there are actually tons of analytics we can see. But for me, I can just show you a very simple basic analytics here. So one of the interesting feature that academia will track. Wait a minute. Somehow it's not loading. Come on. Okay, so this is the analytics. You can see that traffic overview. So this is the visibility of my research article every week. Like this week I got 8, and next week no one read my paper. So this week 6 views. So they will keep on tracking how many times my articles are being read every week, and they will generate that data every week. And not only that, I can also track from which country the people are reading my articles. I cannot track the university since I do not have the premium package. If someone buy the premium, they can also find out the university name and the position of that particular person, and some cases name of the person. I can only track the country that people are reading my paper, and which particular paper they are actually reading. So this particular analytics will help us to understand what kind my research are being. My presentation, okay, my presentation is here. So what kind of, which countries people are reading my articles more. So by doing that, I will understand that this particular country people are doing similar research like me. So I can know about the research group, I can know about or find out the universities they are doing the similar research, and we will have the ability to approach them to do some collaborative research. Sometimes we have the intention to have collaborative research, but we just don't know how to start it, or how to approach first, or how to find out the similar minded people, those who are exactly working the work I'm doing now, so we can come up with some sort of collaborative ideas. So if we use the analytics in academia, that will give us some of the pictures where we should start looking for, or which country we should start for first, or which kind of research group or the university we should look into. So this kind of analytics will help us to generate more citation in the long run. So third thing I will share with you is the another platform is SlideShare. SlideShare is a open platform. It was actually open platform until a couple of years ago, but now LinkedIn already owned them. So we know that everyone purchased them, and now it is run by Scribd company. So the SlideShare, this is a huge platform for open and free slides all over the world. So when we publish a research article, we present it in a conference. First thing we can do is we can share our presentation slides in SlideShare. So it will be visible to millions and billions of people across the world. Second thing is these slides, even if we do not present it in the conference, when we publish an article, along with the article, we can produce a PowerPoint slide to explain the findings or methodologies of my work, and we can still publish it in the SlideShare. Not necessarily it has to be a conference presentation. It can be just a PowerPoint slides or PDF slides. We can just upload them, and again, we have to choose the keywords carefully so that when people search, they can find our slides at the beginning, because there will be, say, I search power system, there is 9,900, almost 10,000 slides are available on just on the topic of power system, because it's a very generic term. If I go for more specific term, the number will be get reduced. But if we choose the keywords carefully, the chance of being noticed or come at the top will be higher. So this is another way we can share our research findings with other people without violating the contract with the publishing company, because we are not sharing any of our research articles, we are sharing the research findings. So there will be no problem with the legal contract. Mm, okay, so this is how we use our SlideShare platform. Another way of doing it is sharing the data that we publish in our paper, because often we publish the paper, we actually publish the result, the outcome. We hardly have the opportunity to share our original data or the big data that we worked with to the other researchers. They just look into our paper, read through our paper, saw some of the result, and that's it. So in the paper, if we can provide, like usually there is a common practice is either we provide the upload our data in Google Drive or OneDrive or any other cloud storage and provide the link to the published article either in the after the abstract or after the conclusion. There is a place where most of the publishing company is opening a space to write or provide the link. If we can do that, that means not only we are sharing our research article with the people, we are also providing the data that we are generating every other day. So other researchers can work on the similar data or the same data, and they can verify our result. They can generate their own findings by using our data. So this is also the similar concept. I am providing the, I'm helping others. So I'm actually giving them a favor. So how they're going to return me the favor? The way they can return me the favor is citing my article, because I am giving them the data to work on. So they will automatically, not automatically, as a human mind, it will be bound to give the favor back over the time. Similar to the data sharing, we can share the simulation details, also methodology details. If it is a very specific methodology that cannot be understood by reading the paper, then we can write it in details, just like we do in our PhD or master thesis. We provide a detailed methodology how we did it, so we can publish those things in open platform. Also, we can share the questions and surveys that usually we do for business research or humanities research. There are many critical questionnaires and surveys that we conduct, and often we under the copyright we protect them, that this is my question I used, and we usually are, many people are not very open to share it with other people. But when we already conduct the survey, if it doesn't have any monetary value, then that copyright is not going to give me a big benefit over the time. If it has the copyright is going to buy me some patent or some other monetary value, that is a different case. We can keep that under the copyright. But if it doesn't have that monetary value, it is better to share that questionnaire with other researchers so that they can follow that, they can work on that or modify that and make it a better one. And again, the similar concept, we are providing a favor, and in return we expect, or indirectly we expect that they are going to cite our articles. Similarly, we can also do many things like research flowchart and other detailed information that we often unable to provide in the research article, because research article, the pages are limited. Sometimes 10 page, 12 page word limit is there. Not necessarily we will be able to explain everything in detail just like we do in our thesis. So Often by reading the research paper, it's very difficult to understand how the methodology is done or how the project is being conducted. So if we share this kind of data through cloud storage, that will definitely boost up the citation possibility. But obviously, whenever we share that, please remember to link your paper. So if we link your paper, it is actually telling the person who is using my data, please cite it, cite it, cite it. So it's like that. If we forget to link the paper, then that person will not know which paper to cite or which article to cite. So whenever share something, link our own paper, we have to remember that. And finally, we can always manage a personal website. When we have the manage a personal website, we do not have to look for multiple platform to share that kind of data or simulation or methodology details. We can host it in our own personal website. So people can access it directly through our personal website. They can download the data, download the simulation diagrams or methodology diagrams, flowcharts, and everything. And it's going to help in their research. So obviously, as I told you, when we give them a favor, they will give the favor back. Another tips is there to make a video presentation. Recently, if you find that trend in last 3-4 years, many journals, they ask us as an optional or supplementary content that whether there are any video available of that published research or not. That means when they are publishing our articles, not necessarily it will be only the PDF file. They would like to publish or provide some link of the video file that will help the reviewer to understand my work or also the other readers to understand my work. As I told you, most of the generation now are moving towards audiovisual generation. So everyone likes to see in format of video or graphs or some graphical representation. So after publishing an article, if we can make a video presentation on that, it doesn't have to be a very long, 5 to 10 minutes, then we can upload in YouTube. Then we can share it in the LinkedIn and our personal website. Do not share it in the Facebook. Facebook is not for those kind of practices. It's a social network. So go for always LinkedIn or ResearchGate or personal website, or if you can submit it along with your research article to the publishers, they are going to publish it with the research article. So people are going to see the video and they will understand it better, the article. And by understanding it, obviously they will be indirectly forced or indirectly being biased to cite our articles. So finally, this is the final tips I would say on write on the open media. These are not very common practice among the researchers because we usually don't have time for this kind of, but if we can manage time, then we can edit many articles in Wikipedia, Quora, and Reddit. The articles and the topics which are related to my research. So when we write or edit those articles in those platforms, always we can link back our research papers. When we write something, reply to some of the question, or ask a question, or create a new discussion thread, or reply to some discussion thread, link our paper there, give the provided website link or whatever the way they can trace back our original article. If you can do that, definitely it's going to boost up our citation opportunity in the long run. So here's the final slide from my side, networking, which is very important if we want to boost up our citation. We have to join conferences, build up networks with multiple people, have a good network in LinkedIn, ResearchGate, academia. We can follow people. We can communicate with them regarding our research, about their research as well. And we can, if we have built up over the time a collaborative research relationship with them, obviously they are going to cite our works, we will be citing their works. So it's a mutually benefiting relation we can develop through multiple platforms. But networking might not be a very strong aspect of many people. So it requires times and practice to learn networking, do networking, and keeps on getting better and better in networking. If we can do that, that is going to improve our citation possibility over the time. Yep, that's all for my presentation. Thank you very much. So these are the tips and tricks I learned throughout my small research journey. I would like to go back to the session now and give you the floor. If you have any question, you can ask me, or you can ask our senior researchers here. they might have different experiences, research experiences in their life, so they can share it with us as well. So yep, thank you very much. Anyone? Bitang, would you like to chip in something, or Basil?
Hello, everyone. Hello, Dubai.
Yes, Basil.
It's one thing I like to add. It's just based on my own observation. It's just if you really want to get citation fast, the fastest way I could think of is to work on something cutting edge, something that is hot topic right now in the world. For example, COVID-19, something related to COVID. I'm sure
Yeah.
if you are in the medical field or in some sort of science or biological research there, I'm sure you'll get tons of citation if you were able to jump on it. Um, Things like, for example, energy research, renewable energy. Now, I'm just talking in terms of engineering because that's where I'm from, right? So for the business side, I could not really comment too much there. But these are the things that if you jump on the topic or topics that are currently being explored a lot around the world, chances of you getting citation is going to be really high, okay? Because everybody try to publish there, so they will dig up every paper about this topic and then cite it, produce review papers, produce a research paper that are according to previous effort. So that's one way to do it. But of course, I know we had our limitations. It would be sometimes be quite difficult to do it as well. You need resources to do it, especially those hot topics, those cutting edge technology. You need the equipment, things like that. If you don't have it, so you may not be able to. This is one of the ways I can think of. The other ways, of course, write review papers. Review papers are a good one, of course. And also on the trending issue, things like that, you will get more citation that way after you publish the paper for a few years. Yeah. Right. Thanks, Thanks, Dubai. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Basil. So Mr. Chow Lim asked that, is it a good, no, the question, it is common for us to manage a multiple research account or different platform, or just focusing on single. So I would say it depends on your time, how much time you can allocate to maintain it. And I shared multiple, but you'll find that when you try to manage those profile, it requires a lot of time, actually, if you want to do it properly. So if you have limited time, better to focus on one platform, and ResearchGate could be one of the primary research profile that we should maintain, and following by LinkedIn and academia and other research. But definitely ResearchGate should get priority, because this is the social platform or communication platform for the researchers, just like Facebook is a social platform, social life. So Research Life is ResearchGate. So I would recommend ResearchGate, yes. Mark, would you like to say something?
No, I just forgot to mute my mic.
Okay, no, but you can chip in, Mark. Any idea you have?
Yeah, I think you actually covered pretty well. When it comes to getting citations, I think it's important to actually share, especially on across multiple platforms. The more you share, the better your coverage. Of course, different users actually use different platforms. I think one of the interesting one is, like, if you look at the social media metrics using Mendeley, so that actually tells you your the conversations that's going on with your article on social media as well. Whether it's at Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, that actually captures a wide range, and that can also be, is something that you can actually use as an indicator in terms of your research impact later on, to say that your research is not just in getting conversations among academics, but also in the wider community as well. Yeah, so good stuff. Goodbye.
Thanks, Mark. Do you have Jaka here? Jaka, are you still here?
Jubair, it's a good talk. It's all the points is already covered in there, so I think I don't need to step in again. But You are correct. Networking is basically the main engine for citations. If you have a very strong networking, then citation is very easy to attain. But of course, I think that have to come from yeah, the conferences, and then the time that you commit, and then like if you can, then you can probably like go to the conferences, or if you cannot go to the conferences, then you organize the conferences, then you meet more people as well. That will be that will be good. And I do agree that Scopus with the Google Scholar, the citations are different because they are taking much more publications, I think. But the other thing that is a positive point is the thing that you give in there, like basically on the Mendeley and all the research gates, because that probably will help. I don't have much time to put into those things, so I don't really have much of them taken care at the moment. Something like research gate or Mendeley. but that is good. That is something that is new for me as well to learn. Thanks, Jubair.
Yes, Jaka, thank you. Yeah, as I told you that it's a very time-consuming business. If really someone wants to boost up their citation for career purpose, promotion purpose, or some other reason for the career growth, then they might find it worth investing time in it. We have Ida with us here. Ida, would you like to share something from the research education perspective? I might be more towards engineering side. So if you have any different platform from education research, you can share it with us. Ida is here, or maybe now. Anyone from the business side would like to introduce any different platform that might be beneficial for our HTR students that I might haven't covered or I didn't know about it?
Yeah, Jubair, just a quick one, because I actually was in and out of your meeting as well as my own my own program meeting and my business school just now. Yeah, so you don't see so many business stuff here. But I think one of the things that's actually quite important is also your what you call it, the title of your paper. I think that's very important, because that is where you actually want to use the keywords that people the search engine will actually pick up. And usually based on some of my own bibliometric research. So bibliometric is actually looking at scholarly works and the citation rates and stuff like that. Shorter titles usually actually gain more citations, interestingly.
Correct.
In the business and social sciences part. So keeping it short and straight to the point, and using the main keywords that you want people to search. Usually when you search for articles, what are the keywords that you use? You want that to have in your title. You want to make sure that they're in abstract and also in your keywords when you actually submit to journals. So that's actually quite important. The other one is also in terms of your references. If you actually, got to know, which are your main articles or main references in your area of research. Reason being is because, like for example, Google Scholar, they will actually give you recommendations in terms of papers similar to your area, and that is usually based on the citations or references that you use. So usually, in international platforms or international universities around the world, people always cite the top journals. So when you cite the top journals, then when Google Scholar recommends them articles, they can also recommend your article as well. So that's how the whole system works behind there for Google Scholar. So yeah, I think those are some of the advice that I would have. But I think pragmatically, if you look at like Jaka like that, more than 10,000 word citations, you need to make sure that your work is actually something that's really new, something that's really novel, and to make sure that your title actually capture the essence of your work. So that is something that I actually noticed from Jaka's papers as well. It speaks directly to what that research is talking about. Yeah, so I think that's important.
Yes, correct. Thank you, Mark, for the suggestion. Yes, Jaka.
To be honest, Mark, thanks so much. But to be honest, I have to be honest with all you guys. What give me a high citation is because of my connections with my previous friend that are basically a cutting edge researchers in the area. So they are working in the high impact area and they have all the facilities and the resources, meaning that I don't really get much in contact with them anymore because as you know, the pandemic has affected the connections, and then also I mean, I did not follow up the up to date areas in that particular area, but if in order for you to get the very high citations, you really have to work in the forefront area. So I think for Mark, I really see that he is working on the forefront area of his research, which is very good, because for business it's probably not need much equipment and facilities as much as me. But for me, I guess if I keep on declining in terms of the facilities and the resources, so in the future I think I will not be able to keep up the citations that I have, because I do have to play in the lower level research, in terms that I have to adapt my research with the low with the low cost one. So I have to, that's what I have to do at the moment. And so far the top works that give me the high citations are the one that is from the top groups that work with very high funding, basically. So they do involve me sometimes because they need my analysis or my my editing and other things, for example. But I would have to say that that declines with the time as well. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Chaka. Yes, totally agree with that. The cutting edge research we do, the chance of getting cited is more. So we are about to conclude our session. We are almost at the end of the time. Yeah. Biteng, would you like to have any concluding remarks? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
All right.
Yes, go on.
If you can hear me,
yep. Gabriel.
I'm not sure if you, because I left a couple of minutes ago. I'm not sure if you mentioned open access.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I understand this is one of the difficulties. I remember you were talking about colleagues in developing countries not having access to high impact journals. Okay, so if we can emphasize these, possibly if you have a grant and then you can publish your works in using open access, I think that would be better. It makes your work more accessible to especially people from the developing countries. Of course, these days we're talking about some of these platforms like Science Hub. I don't know if you know about it. It's you know, people use it, but I think it's not ideal. I'm not sure because it's like stealing. You know, people. This is what people resort to. People from countries and universities that don't subscribe to them, some of these high impact journals. So if we can stress that, you know, emphasize you know, publishing in open access, that would be a good one. I learned something also. Sometimes I was reviewing for some journals, and you know, it was actually my article I submitted to one of the journals, and one of the reviewers was asking me to cite. This is why I knew that the reviewer is trying to ask me to cite his own article, because he mentioned this particular article, you know, author like 3 times. Cite this, cite this, cite this, and I look at it, I realize that this is the same person, you know, same author. So I realized that some reviewers used to do this and ask you to cite their paper because it is related to your article, stuff like that. So I'm not sure whether this is ideal, but I know some people used to do that as well. So maybe you can talk about this a little bit as well.
Yes, Jibril, thank you very much. Yeah, this is a very common practice from the reviewers. Many reviewers does that, but this is not, I think, aligned with the integrity and ethical practice. Technically, they are not supposed to do it. But yeah, this is many common practice that we experienced in many publications. We have, I think most of us have experienced it many times in our life, but it should not be done actually. It doesn't follow with the research ethics and also the policy of the journals. Reviewers are not supposed to expose their identity like that. Anyway, and also the open access that you said, yes, this is one of the common trend for last 5 to 10 years. Most of the research journals, those who are under the conventional practices, they are also have 2 options. Either it has to be a conventional paper, or we can pay them to make it open access. If it is open access, that means definitely it will be more visible, and more visibility means more citation. Yes, open access is another option we can always look forward to, but open access, we always have to be careful which kind of open access we are publishing. There are many predatory journals and very poor quality journals and proceedings where they will just publish it for the sake of money. So there is a element, there is a we should practice it carefully. That's it. Yep. Okay, I think yeah, that will be all. If there is no further question from anyone, or anyone else would like to comment anything, otherwise we will be concluding the session for today. Thank you very much for joining us, and hope to see you guys again in future sessions. Thank you very much, and take care. Bye bye. Stay safe.